Hello, we're another episode of Porch Talks, but as you can see, I'm solo, alone. My partner isn't here. Paul W. Marino promises me that he will be here in 3 weeks at the first Friday of the month. But the show must go on, so I've decided I can handle it, Paul. I think I can do this. I'm going to return to the images that I started last week of lost atoms, buildings that were in atoms that are now gone, that have some kind of historical, architectural, memorable memories for us. My first shot is of the Renfrew Manufacturing Company that used to be on Columbia Street. The Renfrew Manufacturing Company started in 1867-68, just after the Civil War. Two boys from Scotland who had been working for their uncle, I can't remember his name now. He moved on to Pittsfield. It's not Pomeroy. I should take notes down. Anyhow, they wanted him to help fund to make this mill happen. They were going to make ginghams and calicos and other cotton woven goods. Unfortunately, that uncle died, and they went and asked L.L. Brown to be their money man. And L.L. Brown was more than glad to be part of this new operation, because Renfrew Manufacturing Company grew to be one of the largest employers in town for the next 20 years or so, until the Berkshire Mills took over. I love this picture. It shows the smokestack here with the Renfrew Manufacturing Company on it. If anybody remembers that smokestack, I remember when they tore it down back in around 1997 or 98. And this whole building, you remember the cataclysmic fire that occurred here in 1984, where the whole mill complex was destroyed, but the firemen saved this one historic building. And it sat there for about, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 years, and it finally came to the point where it had just deteriorated, and they tore it down. It was on the National Register of Historic Places, and it took a little bit of work to convince and documentation to satisfy the Department of the Interior, who certifies and controls the historic properties. Some people may not know who this is. Probably the easiest way to describe it is it's in that corporate park beyond the roundabout and behind the 7-Eleven. The building in front here, the train station, right here, has since been enlarged by John Burke, and he's restored it. He added a second story to it, and some dormers, and made it look really good. It's a real beautiful building right there on the corner of the lot. I actually didn't want to go there. I did want to go here, though. In the background, you can see North Summer Street, that big block at North Summer Street, and I believe is that Kern's house? I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. But in the background here, you can see it looks like sort of a diamond, a baseball diamond, and it was the original Renfrew Field, before the Renfrew Field that we know today. The major all football games were played here, and baseball games. John Gross, who played this field and lived in this neighborhood, somehow was able to calculate that home plate for this baseball diamond is right where the sign to Shine Wire is located today. And he determined that through several photographs. And he wanted to put a plaque there. He wanted to put a home plate there and a little memorial saying this is the Renfrew Field, original Renfrew Field. Unfortunately, it was destroyed in the flood of 1927. Pretty much the flood washed away the field, and it became unusable. It wasn't until I think 1936 where the Renfrew field that we know today was actually built. Let's see. Well, as you know, this Renfrew mill later on became the Jones division. The guy from Sam Trudel from North Adams, from the Arnold Print Works of North Adams, decided to, when this building went up for auction in 1927, and it wasn't 27, that he was going to turn it into a printing company. And instead of making cotton there and weaving cotton, it was going to print cotton. And Mr. Sam Trudel was a son-in-law to William Gallup, who was the head of mass to Arnold Print Works. And he made this into a printing company. And it was a printing company up until it burnt in 1984. Some people may know it as Aspinock. Also, Arnold. They renamed it Arnold Print Works after 1967 when they got a federal grant to keep it going. When Aspinock was going to close it, and 3 local men actually bought it and turned it back in, turned it into operation. And those 3 men were Mervyn Weinberg and Edward Ginsburg, both of the Adams Supermarket Corporation, and J. Norman O'Connor of the partner in Donovan and O'Connor. They pretty much engineered it to save this mill and save all the jobs that were there. And the mill got to live on for another, that'd be like 27 years or so. My next slide is of the mansion of James Renfrew. Jimmy Renfrew built this house, had this house built. He called it Bonnie Bray. James Renfrew was from Scotland, born in Scotland, and he came here as a young man. And this used to be down off of East Street, where some people may know this as Greylock Rest. And it's now the site of that little new housing complex that is replacing what was once the Adams Youth Center and also the Adams Community Center. It stood here till about 1978. Well, actually, Renfrew died in 1902, and the Diocese of Springfield bought it and turned it into a sanitarium for those people in religious life. So priests and nuns stayed in this house as sort of a vacation spa, and they expanded this building and added more buildings to the property. Unfortunately, they're all gone, and the only thing that still exists is Madonna Hall, or which was sort of a dormitory for the nuns who worked here. This is a picture I took sort of in the last days of the house's existence. It burnt in 1978. After it had been, the nuns left in 1968, 69. It had gone through several owners. One was a Byton Arnold school, a little private school that tried to get going and didn't quite make it. They couldn't, I'm not sure, I think the town then took it by eminent domain, and the town owned it. But it was pretty much abandoned, and I remember walking through it myself. Somebody else decided to walk through it too and torch it, start a fire, and it burnt. This is one of the 3 mansions of the mill owners that existed in Adams. The other one, I think I've already showed you, is Plunkett's mansion on Park Street and Ella Brown's mansion on Commercial Street. All of them are gone. Here's a funny building. It's called Castle Rathconner, and it was built by Reverend Thomas Connor, I think his first name was, who was a priest at St. Thomas Church. And his plan was to have an elementary school here. And he was the architect and the builder, and he was going to then open a Catholic school. Well, Adams already had two Catholic schools. There was one at Notre Dame, and there was one at St. Stanislaus. And I'm not sure, but I can imagine people looking at this sort of a jaundiced eye because here all these Catholics were paying to educate, still paying their property taxes to support the public schools, and now they're going to also start supporting another Catholic school. I believe at this time there was probably at least about, I would easily say 30% of the children in Adams were being educated in Catholic schools. Anyhow, Reverend Connors died in his sleep on New Year's Eve. And the building wasn't completely finished, and I think there was nobody who wanted to finish it. And the building was left vacant for about maybe 20 years. It wasn't torn down until 1947. It was after World War II. It was later, it was torn down by Stanley Krudiak, and his agreement was after it's torn down, he would get to take all the gravel out of here. This is built on a gravel pit. The claim was always that it was unsafe because it was built on a gravel pit, but it was also a burden for people, from anybody after this who might not have wanted to run it. This is now the location of Columbia Valley Housing at the corner of Valley Street and Columbia Street. It's a charming building. Unfortunately, it never got opened and was never used. Just to show you how big it was, this is a view from Valley Street. There was 5 floors to it. I'm told that each one of those bricks, those cinder blocks, was actually made. There was a mold for them, and they made molds, and those bricks were then used in its construction. And somebody in Zolnai told me once that they had the mold for those cinder blocks that were the building blocks of this school. Talking about schools that are gone, but this one was used. This is the Adams High School, originally built as the Adams High School. The portion on the right was the portion on the left was the original school, built around 1890, when there was probably 12 kids or 15 kids in each class. By 1910, that sort of doubled in size, maybe even tripled. There could have been maybe 30 kids in a class at that time. And they put an addition, and the building to the right is the addition that they added to this building. I have to show here, there's a car down in the front here that belonged to a math teacher whose name was Carlton Prince. Can't have a better name than that. Carlton Prince suffered from muscular dystrophy or multiple sclerosis, one of them, and had trouble. He was the only person who was allowed to drive and park his car there, so this is one of the, maybe you could call it the first handicapped parking spot in Adams. Later on, when Adams Memorial School opened in 1953, January of 53, this building became a elementary school, and many people might know this building as the Liberty Street School in Adams. And then when Hoosick Valley High School opened in 1970, this building was no longer necessary and probably a burden for the school system, and they tore it down shortly after Hoosick Valley was opened. But at one time, and I said this in the last show, there were 3 schools, and this was on Liberty Street. There were 3 schools in that little neighborhood, so there was this interesting little campus. The elementary school was the South Adams Academy. There was the C.T. Plunkett Junior High, which was the sort of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And then there was this building, which was 9 through 12, 10 through 12. This is the first supermarket in Adams. I colorized this picture. To the best of my recollection, it was sort of a yellow beigey brick. It didn't look like this when I was growing up. This is shortly after it opened in 1948, 49, somewhere around there. This is the location of the Plunkett Mansion. W.C. Plunkett's mansion was up in where this area was. I mentioned last time that the Plunkett family tore it down in 1936 or 38 in that era, and because they were thinking the federal government was looking for a parcel of land to build the post office, and they were trying to make their land ready for the post office. Instead, the federal government chose a spot across the river where the post office is today. So this site was empty for about, I'd say, 10 years. There was actually a plan to chop down the trees in front of what is now the town hall and put a gas station there. Luckily enough, the selectmen opposed it and would not allow it, saying it would just cause more congestion on Park Street with people coming and going in the gas station. And I wish they would think about the sense that it was an amazing location with that mansion. Anyhow, Jake Weinberg built this building. He had a supermarket on Summer Street, and he had a small, I think his meat market was still in operation on Myrtle Street at the same time. And this was the first freestanding supermarket in Adams. It later burnt in 1968 on Ash Wednesday, and this was right around the time of urban renewal, and the nice parcel of land was available over on Myrtle Street, and so he built the Adams Supermarket on Myrtle Street, and it stayed the Adams Supermarket there up until 1984, 85, when they sold out to Big Y. Adams Supermarkets was a chain. There were 7 Adams Supermarkets throughout the county, from Adams, North Adams, Pittsfield, and as far as Great Barrington. I believe there were 2 of them in Pittsfield. And they carried the name, Adams' name, throughout the county. Here's another picture that I colorized. I vaguely have memories of this marquee being blue and red. If anybody's out there knows what color it actually was, please tell me. It's a great Art Deco feature. This building was put up in 1938 and replaced a former, they called it the concert hall on the 1853 map, but then it became one of the early movie houses, and they tore it down to build the Adams Theater, and it was operating from 1938 until, I don't know, 67, 68 for its last show. You see the line of people here. I spent many Saturday afternoons at this place, and it now has been revived by Yina Moore, and is now the Adams Theater, and is showing all kinds of performances. So it's been revived. It'd be great if she restored this marquee. That'd be amazing. But right now, I don't think that's in the plans. This building used to stand where what is now the Haflinger House, and now I guess it's called the Trail House. No, I forget what they're calling it. The restaurant, or some people might know it as the Adams Rest Home. This is like one of, I don't know, 4 buildings in Adams that were made with native stone. Some mason must have knew how to do this, must have had the technique. They created this. There's also the old stone mill farther down the road. There was a section of a building where the mill houses are that was also stone laid like this. And then there was another a building farther down where the car washes on Columbia Street that was also made of stone like this. This is a gorgeous piece of architecture, symmetrical. It's got that great doorway. It's got all those chimneys on the side and the gabled, the scalloped gabled ends, the stepped gabled ends. And there's a few buildings in town that have those stepped gables on the end. One of them is where the driving school is there on Park Street. And I think the other one is maybe Cheese Restaurant. Does that have a gable, a stepped gable? Could have. Anyhow, this building was torn down around 1904, 1905, because Edward Noble and his wife Lucy, who was a Jinx, wanted to build that mansion, wanted to build that house, which became Halflinger's. And there was two of these buildings, this one here, and there's a brick sister to it next door. They tore down both of them, and there was a building to the right, which they moved 100 feet south. It's still there. Adams Housing Authority owns it. It's got those interesting turrets on it. It's an old, great Victorian house, and built Halflinger House in its place. Someday, if I ever do this show again, I should have the before and after pictures. There's another stupendous building that used to be on Park Street on the front lawn of the town hall. That gateway on the left is the entrance, the driveway up to the Plunkett Mansion on Traff. So it's also the area there where the Adams Supermarket is, and today the Greylock Federal Credit Union is. This building was the Lapham family lived here and built it, I believe. The Laphams are pioneer family in Adams. There was a time where the Laphams owned two sides of the valley. One on their house is still, one of their houses is still in existence at the top of Birch Street, and there is a monument in front of it mentioning that it is a Lapham house. And then the other one is on East Road near East Hoosick Street entrance, and it's another Lapham house. And that Lapham house on East Hoosick Street and East Road is Susan B. Anthony's grandfather married a Lapham daughter. And Susan B. Anthony's father was born in that house, and that was the Anthony homestead. And they used to call it the Hive, and Susan used to visit there and all. But this Lapham, there was just quite a few brothers. This Lapham, I believe, had a post office here. The Masonic Temple was in this building, and if you look over to the right, there's oops, I keep doing that. If you look over to the right here, you see a store window, so there must have been a store in there. There's a little boy with he's got a leash, and that could be, I don't know if that's like an old-fashioned barber pole or what that is. Maybe that's a symbol for the post office. I don't know. It doesn't say. I can't read this big sign, this little sign here. But there were three buildings on that front lawn. One of them was moved to Pleasant Street. It's still there. And the one on the right that you see there was actually moved up to Bob's Hill. They must have pushed it I don't know how they took it. I'm assuming they took it the hill behind them, and it kept on jacking it up and made terraces, got it to another level, and was able to bring it up to street level, and then probably pulled it down the street. It's still there. It's probably, I think, the only house on there maybe two houses. It's one of two houses on the south side of that street. Most of the other houses are up there on Bob's Hill are on the north side. And that was a Blackington house. Mr. Blackington, who lived there, he ran the old stone mill. We had some beautiful gas stations in Adams at one time. This is the Gulf Station that used to be on Columbia Street near the bridge, that the little footbridge that connects Columbia Street with Murray Street. In the background, you can see the tanks that stored heating gas. There were two of them, I think, at one time. They were now since been demolished, taken apart, and there's just an empty, vacant lot there. This place, many people might remember it as Henry Hartwig's Gulf Station. Henry Hartwig ran this, still as a Gulf Station, and I think it was torn down when the Adams Coal Association, its next door neighbor, was turned into an auto mechanic repair place. And I can't remember the first person who did it though. Bob Deegan, I think, was in charge of that. Anyhow, they got rid of this this building, and it's a parking lot now. This is the predecessor to the Racing Mart. If you is across the street from the car wash in Adams on Columbia Street, just down the street from the gas station you saw earlier. If you look in the background, you can see Hoosick Valley Coal and Grain Building. That's still there, part of it, not the big barn to the south. I believe this was owned by a Mr. Kroll, if not that, by a Mr. Zimba. That's from the days when we used to pump gas, and everybody would be thrilled to see that gas was only 28 cents for regular and 32 for high test. There's another, Flying A. I'm not sure when this was torn down. I remember it. Mostly because Mr. Zimba, who ran it, had a bathtub out back. And in the bathtub, he used to store bullhead. And as a boy walking home from St. Stan's School, I walked along the tracks and used to drop some stuff into that bathtub, and it was all black water. And I remember one of those fish come to the surface to me. It scared the living daylights out of me. Oh, this is my last picture in this frame, in this guy's. Let's see if I can go and find the other. Let's see if I can. Yep, it is. Let's go to Let's go to my Library of Congress pictures that my colleague, Barb Armada, who's a frequent watcher of the show, downloaded from the Library of Congress. Somebody came along, I think it figures like late 1910, yeah, we're back in business here. 1910, and took all these shots of Adams, mostly Mount Greylock. We know this is probably around 1909, 1910, because of the, am I making you sick by playing with this? The landslides. In 1901, there was a torrential rain that caused these landslides, and actually made 3 of them. You only see 2 in this picture. 3 landslides down the mountain, and it did quite a bit of damage in the town of Adams. And later on, you'll see pictures of why that happened, why Adams suffered so severely from this one downpour. This picture was taken from that's Fisk Road that you see, and that house is still there at the top of Fisk Road. I don't know if the trees are there. There's a few houses up They're now modern houses. I don't know how they built them on that ledge, but they must have blasted to get the houses foundations in. Here's another view of the mountain. In front is Dean's mill. This mill is still there. It is at the corner of West Mountain Road and West Road, or yeah, that's still West Road, not Knott's Road. It looks like here you can see that it looks like the sawmill portion of this is under construction. They had this portion to the left. The logs would come down in here, and there was a huge saw inside this inside that portion of the building, and it was I'm not sure what they did with the lumber afterwards, but they definitely processed timbers there. Meanwhile, this building here had all kinds of operations. It was a cider mill. It was a carpet cleaning mill. There was I think some of the material for drying and washing carpets is still in there. In the basement, they used to have a bone crusher where they would crush, I'm not sure where the bones from a slaughterhouse, I'm assuming, which I believe was used as a meal for animals afterwards, or maybe even for fertilizer. So it has quite a bit of uses. You see barrels there, which I'm assuming was used for cider. Also, this building was probably used during Prohibition to produce some kind of alcohol, because I know one of the deans from here was arrested, and there was a federal raid and all that hoopla, and I believe he served time for violating the Volstead Act. And is this barn still there? It probably, it might be, yes. Another view of Greylock, and I got to enlarge this because you can see that it has been clear cut. It's all been deforested all the way across the whole length, and when the rains came, there were no trees to hold back the water off the mountain, and the water just came pouring down into Little Old Adams, and did quite a bit of damage in 1901. You can see almost the beginning of the landslide that we've experienced back in 1990. I hope you can still hear me. I lost my microphone for a while. The good thing about this picture too is, let's see, down in front here is Greylock Rest. There's the Renfrew mansion that I talked about earlier, and there's the dormitory that the Diocese of Springfield built attached to it to house more people. Here is the carriage house and the, I think this was also the laundry. Madonna Hall, which would have grown on the other side, which is now the only thing that exists of this whole complex, hasn't been built yet. It was built in 1920 something or other. So this view is from this road that you can see down in the forefront here is East Street. And looking out into Adams, you can see the Collins block. I talked about that as part of Lost Adams. It's still intact. It didn't burn until 1915, so we know this picture was taken prior to 1915. And we can see the the L.L. Brown Paper Company right here. And I noticed that the L.L. Brown Paper Company has that addition that was built along Commercial Street, and we know that was built in 1911. So we know we can now date this picture, that is between 1911 and 1915. We've got this narrowed down to 4 years. Any other interesting buildings? Oh yeah, wait, we got Buena Vista up here. It's up on the top of Bob's Hill. It's still there. I think a Barron family owns it. People may remember Gil Rudnick. He owned it. Before that, it was like a summer house, and I think it was built sort of as a summer house for people from city dwellers to come here and spend their summer. But I can't imagine them summering here. We were all burning coal. I can't imagine the atmosphere, the life here being that great, and having to smell all the burning coal. Is there anything else we can see in this picture of note? Oh, okay, we're down on Park Street now. And you can see here in the front is, we call it the Mossert Block, I believe. Is that it? Oh no, that's the Armory. That's the Armory building that's now been vacant. And next to it is the Jones Block, which has recently been revived and is now has like 6 apartments, and the Adams Cheshire Regional School District is there. This building right here with the interesting roof is on Spring Street. These 2 spires right here are the Congregational Church. And then right behind them is that must be B Street, and some people might recognize their home. And farther down the street is the Town Hall, which still has its tower intact and its peaked roof. And then next here are the Simmons House. And this would be Melrose Street, the street going up in the back. And here's the Adams Library. And it looks like the only thing we're going to see here is maybe the portion of the Armory. There's the main office of the Berkshire Cotton Manufacturing Company, which is now an office building. I'm not sure who are the tenants there. Can we see anything farther north? Oh wait, there's that building. You can barely see it in the trees. In the trees is the Quaker Meeting House in the cemetery. These pictures were taken with a very good camera, a very good lens. We can talk about these buildings down here. These are on Summer Street, and they're all still there. This is the street in the foreground is Randall. And all these buildings, I believe, are still in existence. The 2 long blocks there on Summer Street, and Bruce Koselnick's house over here. It looks like Arnold Lumber Yard is still going strong. Here's another pretty picture of Greylock. Once again, it looks like it's growing back a little. Greylock was put under protection in the state in 1898. It is the first state park in Massachusetts and the first state-operated preserved land. I'm not sure who actually bought most of the mountain and gave it to the state, or if the state actually bought it from them. But they're a little bit late in putting it under protection, because as you see, it's been clear cut and it caused quite a bit of an ecological disaster. I don't know where this picture was taken with this Y, unless this is still the top of Fisk Street. And that could be the driveway coming out of the Fisk farm and the road coming up from Fisk Street. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Yet another picture of Greylock Rest, the Renfrew Mansion and the dormitories, down Park Street. This one you can see the Baptist Church. You can see the smokestack of L.R. Brown Paper Company. And this spire, boy, that's got me. Could that be the Methodist Church? I'm stumped. I don't know what that spire belongs to. If anybody recognizes it and they want to call in, don't have the number up, just call in and say, hey, it could be the Universalist Church, but no, this spire has got to be the Universalist Church, or which became the Elks Lodge, or it could be the Methodist Church on Commercial Street as well, which was a Masonic temple for a while. Anything interesting in this picture? That looks, I don't know. No. There's a pretty prosaic scene here. This is 2nd Street, and this is the top of Randall Street. Two kind of fancy looking houses. I don't know how old they were. On the left is a duplex. I believe, is that where Sandy McNay lives and Lucy Green? Probably. And I think that house is probably that Dubiego. Check this out. That sure looks like smog. That looks like it's some kind of smoke. I'm assuming it's coming from this chimney right here. I was talking about, oh yes, it's definitely coming from them. So as I was talking about, Adams as a summer destination, you had to put up with the smell of burning coal. And across, you can see the sand pit where Castle Rathconner was built. And this has got to be before Valley Street was built, because there's the valley of Valley Street. There were two huge mounds that were later on reduced as they took the sand out of there. So this predates the building of Valley Street, this picture, because this long building in the front here is Mill Number 2, which was demolished in around 1961, 62, when they were building what became the First National store. And it was Donald LaFrance, and the LaFrance family was building their supermarket. And as soon as the LaFrances finished building it, First National stores approached them and said, hey, would you be interested in selling? And being the wise people that they were, said, sure. They took the money and ran. It's now the location of Walgreen and the parking lot for Walgreen and the parking lot for Mill Number 1 Berkshire Square Apartments. And what else is anything interesting in this picture? Of course, Mill Number 3, the clock tower. Did I have a picture of the clock tower as part of Lost Adams in my other show? Probably. And Mill Number 3, which was, I believe, I'm not sure if it was the largest mill in that complex, because I believe Mill Number 4 had the huge weave shed plus this mill over here. Anything else interesting in this picture of note? Oh, look, there's a sign for Upton's Coal and Wood Yard. The Upton family are another pioneer family here in Adams, and they built the farm up there on French Street. Musa Jaya and Helen Mesmore lived in that house for years. And then, of course, Upton Street is named after them, and they had that farm there. The boys went into coal and wood and made their money that way. And now these are houses on Smith Street and Randall Street. There's a golfer's paradise. So once again, this is after 1901. Probably they're all taken in that same year, somewhere between 1911 and 1915, we've decided now. Look at all that open land, no houses. Let's see who's... All these people are actually posing. They know their picture's being taken. They must be caddies. These are all boys. They're wearing knickers. Those aren't... And let's see who's over here. Oh, this guy's actually, maybe he's posing too, taking his ball out of the hole. I believe that stone fence might still be there somewhere. And once again, this area right here is probably filled with Highland Avenue and Marshall Avenue and that whole neighborhood. Let's see if we can bring up these farms. Oh, I think we determined that's Rubizon's, the Cordana farm up on the Glen. And that's pretty much where and that's probably the Wojtuszek farm to the upper right-hand side. The Cordana farm would be about where, up at the Glen, probably to the, well, if you take the loop trail, if you walk the loop trail up there, there's a set of willow trees, and I believe those willow trees came afterwards, but those willow trees are very near where this farmhouse is. And whose farm is this? Ooh, could this be Yeski's? Could be. Maybe not. Oh, that could be Dean's farm. No, but there's no mill. We probably should show the clubhouse and how it looked. The clubhouse we now know was built by the Plunketts, of course, and it may have been their little summer palace out of off the streets from Adams, and they could live up here. They eventually donated it to the Forest Park Country Club, and it became their clubhouse. The Plunketts were very big promoters of golf and very big supporters of the Forest Park Country Club, and made golf a very important part of the Adams social scene. We can't see anything. There's a tennis courts up there, and a racetrack, but we can't see any of that right now. There's another scene of Greylock. This photographer was definitely obsessed with Greylock. And we haven't determined its location yet, but I am 99% sure it's Duba Street. But now that I look at this house, it looks like that could be East Street down below, and this could be Morningside Avenue, before Morningside Avenue was developed. Is that possible? I've got to keep an eye on this house and this dormer here. That's the clue of where this location is. I believe, let's see, these actually look like elm trees. This one, the one to the right here looks like an elm tree. Elm trees were everywhere in this town at one time. I figure there had to have been about maybe 100 of them planted up and down the streets, on street corners, everywhere. And we know that there was that many because there's records in the 60s of them cutting them down and how many they were cutting down every year. The elm tree was an important shade tree, and it had that elegance, and they rose high in the sky and created like that umbrella type of thing, as opposed to like a bushy maple tree. This one had that upside down pyramid look to it. There are 2 elm trees I know of that still exist in Adams. One of them is in front of St. Mark's Church on Commercial Street. It is still there. And there's another one up on Hales Hill. When you're coming over the back road in Adams, the Henry Wood Road, going into Buckland Road down to East Road, you'll see it up the left up into the hill. This was a panoramic shot that someone made, and it's not in very good shape, but they kept it at the Library of Congress chose to keep it. And it starts here. Look at it. They've got St. Stan's Church, so we know that this is after 1905, because that's when the church went up. Hoosick Street School is there. I don't see anything else that can give us an indication of a date that I can recognize. This would then be, we're going down North Summer Street, and the house is on North Summer Street. I don't know if any of these houses are still in existence. They could have been destroyed in the Stanley's lumber fire of 1956. This could be the big, this dark colored building is probably that brick building that's on North Summer Street. And here is, this row house is the Waldron Street block. Waldron Street used to run back from where Greelix is, back along the edge of the Miller Brook. And that was another victim of the 1956 Stanley's lumber fire. The cluster of 4 buildings next to it are still there, down, and then this next street is Jordan Street, and all those buildings are still there, been modified a bit, but I don't see. I can't see the Polish National Catholic Church anywhere, so that means that this picture was taken between 1905 and 1907, because that's when that building went up. If it's here, it would be right hidden by this one tree in the center. In the background, we're seeing probably East Jordan, Higher Street. Is that it? Yeah, Higher Street. I'm wondering if we're going to see, oh wait, yeah, this looks like the Turn Hall. Is that possible? Someone help me out. Some of these houses I can't recognize. That big, oh, that could be that big house that at the edge of Staple Street in North Summer. Oh, and that's not the Turn Hall. That's another, that big house at the edge of Murray Street. Yeah, that makes sense. We're not going to see the Turn Hall, I don't think. There's another big long block here in the center of, at the corner of Kittler. Mike Urquhart owned it. This could be the Turn Hall right here, this big blob of white. Because that should have been built by then. In the background, look at here, this little curve, this little arch here covers the sandbank that used to be what's now behind, well, it's called Haddad's now, behind McAndrews King. I'm told that a lot of the sand from this was used for fill, and I'm not sure if I couldn't have used it to make concrete for the flood chute, for the flood control project. But it was a sand pile that it was used to help in building the flood control project in the 1950s. Adams did have quite a few sand lots. I don't think any of them are usable anymore. There's this one here on Columbia Street, then the Valley Street one that I talked about before. I wonder if we could see the Valley Street in here. Here's the old mill. Nope, the trees are blocking any view of that part of town. Maybe we can. Okay, this is it right here. That's end of mill number 2, and this is the sand hill that's there, and the sand hill on the other side where the Adams Memorial School is. And they must have chopped down this hill to build Castle Rathconner. I've only got a minute to go. Well, I can leave you on this shot. This one really shows the defoliated mountain, and it shows that really this is the severe sites, the severe. There's nothing more. The only good thing about this picture is it shows the Summer Street. And all these buildings are still on Summer Street, I believe. This is still, one of these is the barber shop and the beauty parlor. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed seeing these old pictures, and hopefully you'll see Paul next week. Till then, God bless and good luck.